guys, we are back. Welcome to another episode of More Than a Title. I'm your host, as usual, Jared Thomas, and this is the last episode of 2022, man. So I just want to thank everybody for their continued love, the continued support. We're growing week over week. And also, man, I hope everybody had a happy holidays, man. I had a great holiday, man. I hope everybody did the same, was around people they loved, enjoyed, man, and looking forward to a 2023 because we about to tear shit up this year. You know what I mean? So I wanted to end this off, man. I'm so glad I got this brother to join today, man, because I've been a fan of this brother for a while. I think I've been connected with you for about a while, for about at least a year or two now. And everything you said speaks to me, especially right now from the recruiting standpoint. I'm going to be real with you, Jermaine. I hate the recruiting process. I hate recruiters. You're the only one I like, bro. I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to go through the story and tell you what it is. But for those who are not familiar with Jermaine, this brother has built up an incredible following on social media, specifically on LinkedIn. This brother's continuously giving out information about, how to scale or how to get that next job in tech, specifically for Black professionals. And he's been killing it, man. He's been featured on publications like Forbes, many others. He's built up a huge community, and I'm just excited to have this brother in here about his journey. So let's introduce Mr. Jermaine, the Jobfather Murray, brother. How are you, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you for joining, bro. It's an honor. It's a pleasure, man. How was your holidays and all that?
It was good. Had some really good food. I'm still trying to work off the itis that I had.
There you go.
I just woke up from a nap not too long ago because of those leftovers, slowing down my blood and everything. But happy to be here.
Thanks too, brother. Same thing. I woke up from a nap, bro. I'm getting old, bro. I'm 34. I'm feeling it, man. Need my little 2-hour power nap. But, bro, man, let's start from the top, man, because, for anybody who's first time listening, More Than a Title is a show that's different from your traditional shows, man. We don't want to do the typical tips and tricks and how do you do this and that. I'm more interested in the stories and the journeys of the people that we're speaking to because we're all more than a title, right? And is more valuable gems and lessons in that. So with that said, bro, let's start from the top, man. Like, how did you get into the industry and what led you into recruitment?
I wanted a free PlayStation.
Kept it real. I love it.
Yeah. I went to, I had like a non-linear background because 10 years ago when I graduated, about 10, 11 years ago when I graduated school, I went to school for broadcasting. I was trying to be on the radio for sports. And I actually managed to get a part-time job at SiriusXM co-hosting one of their shows. And it was great for 6 months. And then they canceled the show. So it was rough. So I was trying to get back into the radio side of things. And I used to tell people that the same way that you would hear about actors waiting tables or doing these small jobs until they caught their big break. I kind of approached it like that. So I was working any and all jobs that I could to sustain myself, but also trying to get back into break back into that radio industry. Yeah. So, after years of trying, I found myself working at an enterprise with a rental car place. Right? Yeah. And I had a really bad day because I was dealing with customers and I was dealing with someone that was a jerk, and it was a struggle, man. It was awful. They were making you clean cars and suits and everything, and it was nasty, man. So I remember after a particularly challenging customer, I said to myself, if it's not radio, what's one thing that you want to do that you can actually be happy to wake up in the morning and not have to deal with crap like this. Yeah. So I said to myself, I'd like to play video games or work around video games, and that's when I was like, all right, let me go see it would be nice. I was saying to myself, I fought tooth and nail and a bloody war to get a PlayStation 4. And I said to myself, it would be nice that by the time the PS5 drops, I can just get one for free. So I'd like to work in games or at least around games, or let me work for PlayStation because when it drops, I won't have to do the Hunger Games to get a PlayStation because they just give me one. But I ended up working at PlayStation, so I still had to do the Hunger Games shit to get the PlayStation 5. But I went on PlayStation's website and I looked at jobs that focused on talking, and I came across a job posting for a senior recruiter, and I realized I could do everything that I was asking. I just needed the actual recruitment experience. So I was like, all right, bet. Let me get 5 years of recruiter experience, apply for a job at PlayStation, and like things should work out. And that's kind of how I came across recruitment. And I was like,
Wow.
I'll be a recruiter. And I went and I got my first job at an agency and kind of just worked my way up there. I didn't get the job at PlayStation, but I got the career.
That's it, man. That's what matters, bro. And first of all, I love the story. The fact it was like, yo, PlayStation, this is what I wanted to do. And I think we've all had that conversation, bro. I think we've all, at some point in our careers, like, what the hell am I doing, bro? This shit is whack. This is this.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, what am I doing? The money ain't that good. I'm stressed the F out. And I got to make a pivot, bro. And then you found the pivot going for something that you love to do. But then you kind of snuck in the back door. And my story's kind of similar, bro. It's like I was a waiter. You know, I was a waiter working at Starbucks, barista. Somebody told me to sell them a pencil straight out of Wolf of Wall Street. Next thing you know, I'm doing digital sales, bro. And you know, going into it that way, bro. But what was the hardest or what was the biggest challenge about recruiting, bro? Because right now, we all know what's going on with the industry, bro. It's a shit show. You know what I mean? A lot of tech companies. And I feel bad for the Black professionals that just got their first start in the tech. I know a lot that got their first inception in the tech. And 3-4 months later, they're like, yo, what the hell happened? Like, I didn't even get I didn't get a fair shake, man. So with that being said, brother, like what are some of the challenges in recruiting right now? And what tips could you give to other Black professionals right now that are still searching and looking for their next opportunity?
I think overall, like with recruitment, the biggest challenge right now is just like a lot of people have like reduced their hiring. So like for a lot of recruiters, it's just like being able to just keep their jobs has become like a whole new challenge or justifying it, because some companies like the first, like I was working full time up until June. That pushed me into being a full-time entrepreneur because I got laid off. And it was just like, you know, a lot of companies, when they're doing cuts, the first people to go are the recruiters, right? So that was like one of the bigger challenges right now in this kind of market. With regards to generally speaking, outside of like the whole job security thing right now, I would say the hardest thing about being a recruiter is, ironically enough, convincing somebody to take the job. Usually it works out like you'll filter and like screen and like, you know, qualify like this different people, and like, you know, you in a lot of ways you act as a gatekeeper. But what happens when you find somebody that you want, right? It turns out like it can be hard to like convince them to take the offer, because usually they're dealing with other offers on the table, right? So it might not be as hard right now because of the market, but like if you asked me like 6 months ago, I would have said like, you know, just competing with like other giants that are hiring, like the Metas or the Amazons, right? It's still like challenging because like there are still people that are hiring, like there's still good money being thrown around. So that's still kind of like a challenge, but like it's a complex answer.
Yeah, not for sure, bro. I think one thing I do like about recruiters is that I understand your process, because you guys are sales. You have to understand people and really understand people and what they're trying to get to and what makes them tick and what they're really looking for in order to make it happen. Similar to sales. If I want to be able to close this SaaS product with you, I need to know your problems inside and out. I need to know what you're looking for, what's your KPIs, all that good stuff. And then you're just doing that from a people sense. What I don't like about recruiters, I hate the simple rudimentary process. Like I'll get on with a recruiter, bro, and it'll be like, yo, hey, Jay, saw your profile. It was impressive, and I really think you're good for this role. And da-da-da. So I get on the phone. It's like, so what was it about my profile that was impressive? You can't tell me shit. And if you're just spraying and praying, that's totally fine. But it pisses me off because I've got 3 years worth of content. That all you have to do is go click on my profile and see what I'm doing, to see what I'm looking to accomplish. You could clearly see that I'm creating content around this role, around social media. I'm helping people do X, Y, Z. I'm doing the podcast, all things that could be a benefit to an organization. And then you'll get on the phone and ask me like, hey, do you know how to prospect? Like, what the hell are you talking about, fam? Do I know how to prospect? I just had the owner of the Washington Nationals on my show. Like, do I know how to prospect? Like, so it's little stuff like that, and going through that process, and then I have to tell you my story. Then after I tell you my story, you send it to somebody else, and then you know how stories are. You tell it to the next person, it's going to be not the same feel. It's not going to be the same thing, and it's based off somebody else saying yay or nay based on what's put on a piece of paper. Yeah. And that's the process that I can't stand. I tell this to recruiters, and it's like, well, this is what I have to do. Well, try to get to know me first, because if you don't build a relationship with me, you ain't gonna get the close anyway.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. And that's kind of like why I approach my recruitment philosophy the way that I do. And like, my company and I, like, we focus on helping Black people get jobs specifically.
Yeah.
And I'm not that I'm immune to that sort of issue that you're having, but like, the chances of me kind of having that kind of communication or that kind of impression on somebody is pretty low because we're a mission-driven organization. So like, you know, when I reach out to somebody, if that's from our community, like their success is like one of the big things for us. Like, you know, I approach recruitment from like a servant leadership type of aspect of like, what can we do for you? Like you, like I like on the basis that, like, you know, we are both from the same community and there ain't a lot of us in this space. We already got a connection. So like, you asking me, so if you were asking me like, yo, what about my profile makes you impressed? I tell you, like, shit, there aren't a lot of like really like high level digital sales people like in your space right now. The fact that you're in your space, I want to figure out what I could do to catapult you forward, right? Because my goals, like for me, it's like a clear communication of what I want. Like, you know, in the immediate, we're trying to have like we're trying to get to 500 people that we've helped. So if we can help you, we can count that towards our numbers. And we also want to figure out how we can get more people like you in the door. So it's like, you know, we help you. Maybe you can help us by opening up the door for somebody down the line. We can also count that against our numbers, right? So if you were to ask me like, yo, what about my profile made you impressed? I'd be like, yo, you a Black man in your space doing what you do. Like, I already know that you know what I'm saying? I already know that you kind of already going through it. Like, you have to be everyone. I was having this conversation with somebody. I was like, this might be a bit of like a controversial or a hot take, but like every single Black person I know is overqualified for their job at the level that they're at. Because we always gotta do like twice as much to get half as much. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if like when I first got my recruiter job, like I had years and I had like good like 8-10 years of sales experience, right?
Yeah.
Of like running a branch, of running a team, doing P&L, you know, running my own resume creation service. Like I had like a lot on my, like when I look back when I got started, I'm like, me now would have had an easy time getting me back then, like their first recruitment job, because I had so much to work with. And like some of my peers in my first recruitment job, like they weren't coming where I was coming from, right?
Yeah.
You know, and there's nothing wrong with, I'm not trying to hate on their journey or anything, but like I was dealing with KPIs and I was dealing with like $1 million revenues, right? And I was dealing with like being held accountable for that. So like, and like some of the other people that I was working with, like they just either got fresh out of school or like this was their first big adult job. Like, I remember one of the people I got hired with, right? She was just like a server, right? No real sales experience at all. She was like, I think servers are great. Servers have to balance a lot of different things, especially like the customer interaction side. Totally saw the transferable skills, but like the amount of pushing and struggling I had to do to like prove that I would be like, I had the good transferable skills was crazy in comparison to like some of these people from other backgrounds where it was just like, they were more willing to give them a shot. And it's from that space, like anytime I've talked to a Black professional, right, there's always some sort of artificial ceiling above them at the workplace that they're at that makes me say, like, you know, most of the Black people that you see, they're overqualified for the jobs that they have relative to their peers, whether that they have more experience, more accolades, right? Right? Or more revenue or more KPIs under their belt, but they're not getting the advance at the same speed as their peers, right?
So true.
You know, when I see a Black person in this space and, you know, if I reach out to you and you're like, yo, how did you, like, what about my profile impressed you? I'm going to tell you that there aren't a lot of people in the space that look like us, right? And I already know that you probably have had challenges or examples or feelings that, you know, your opportunities aren't coming at the same pace as your peers in your space. Like maybe you saw someone with like less less accolades, right? Or less
Yep.
wins or achievements, get a promotion that you thought you deserved, right?
Yep. Been through that.
I know you've been through that.
Yes, sir. You know the deal.
I know you've been through that.
Still waiting on it.
I know you've been through that. And it's like, if I can, I know exactly what that's like. If I could put you in touch with an opportunity that's going to give you something closer to the respect that you deserve, are you really not going to talk to me?
That's real talk. That's real talk, man. But how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that when you're dealing with an organization? Now that you have your own business, you kind of have the free range to do what you want. But when you're in an organization, how do you balance that out to get the perfect candidate, but also with your purpose, what you want to do is get more Black professionals in the industry. So how do you balance that out, bro?
I actually had a lot of trouble balancing out because I've just always been vocal about it from a recruitment standpoint. So like anyone that's ever hired me, they already know that I have an agenda, right? It's like,
bro,
my the place that laid me off in June, I got nothing but good things to say about them, and I understand it was just a business deal. But I loved working at that place because they got it when it came to like DEI or when it came to like hiring Black people. Like the manager, my would-be manager asked me, in our first interview, she asked me what kind of questions I had for them. And I told her, if you hire me, I'm going to try and double the amount of Black people that work here. Do you have a problem with that? Are you going to get in the way? Are you going to help me? Right. And she's like, well, what can I do to help? And they did everything that they could to help in terms of like helping me advocate, helping me get more attention, just being more willing to hire people from like communities that I put them in touch with. And I really, really like that. Right. So that for me on like the corporate side, for me, it's always been trying to like identify companies that are value aligned. Right. And telling them that from the start. And some of them will tell you like, yo, that's awesome. That's what we're about. Others will be like, yeah, not like, others will be like, yeah, we're okay with that. And then in practice, you see them start like, telling you to chill or trying to hold back. So to me, to answer your question, you guys got to be as vocal as possible with what your values are and what your intentions are. And you also have to be willing to remove yourself by putting yourself either a new team or a new employer, and making sure that you're always surrounded or connected with people that share or that appreciate that same vision.
Yeah, that's so real, brother. And the issue I also have too, and I love the fact that you're very vocal about it in your organization that you're with. I never hear it reversed. I've never heard a white recruiter say, I'm trying to get more white candidates involved or more white candidates hired. I've never heard that, but we know that's a thing, right? And there's a very small, I've been out of the job market since like August, bro. I've spoken to at least 50 companies. I've spoken to one Black recruiter during the process. To the point where now I feel like I'm being shunned out the industry. I'll give you an analogy. I know you'd respect this, bro. I feel like Kemba. Walker. Knees are still good. I will cross your ass up. You know what I'm saying? And hit this 30-foot on your ass. And I've got the accolades to prove it. We won the college thing. We got this. I got millions of impressions. They remember back in the day when recruiters used to ask you, what was your Black book of business like? Who can you sell to right now? My Black book is looking better than it's ever looked because of the things we've done, you and I, on personal branding, how we build in our community. Anybody else, I feel like, that would have done the same thing that I'm doing right now would be heralded and would be seen as a commodity to the organization and seen as valuable. What I get usually, bro, it's, wow, you did all of that? Well, how we do it here, Jared, is we do sales a very specific way. And it's like, yo, fam, I just closed $2.2 million without an email or a cold call. You should be asking me, how can we scale this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the questions, and that's the problem that I have with the recruiting process. I'll sit there and be like, yeah, well, I just did this. I got a podcast to do this. I end up creating a podcast in order to drive sales to the point where I created an inbound engine for the organization that when they come in, they say, hey, I found you guys from the podcast. And guess what? When you raise your hands to talk to sales, you're talking to me. So imagine what that one-to-one level connection of sales is like. So now it's like, damn, I've been following you. I love Jared's stuff. And I get to talk to you. Now I really want to do business with you. And we created that whole model. But you bring that to other organizations, bro, it's just like flat, deaf ears. It's like I've spoken to CEOs that just hear it, and some of them even think it's arrogance. And it's like, nah, fam, it's not arrogant to say that I'm looking at your profile right now. You got 2,000 views, 2,000 followers or connections. You're the CEO, you're the voice. I've got 8 times that. And how can we utilize that to better drive sales and revenue for the organization? Those aren't the conversations that are being had. So it's to the point now where I have to create my own agency and just do what I have to do. You know what I mean, bro? So I just wish it was more transparency on both sides.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if we got somebody like Jermaine saying like, yo, look, man, I'm trying to get more Black professionals in this space because we know there's a lack of Black, Black hires being put into the Googles, the Amazons, the Metas, and all these other places. So how do we balance the scale? But then on the other side, if you ask that, it's like, shit, you're not supposed to ask.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I know you feel that. And that's the big issue, bro. So I'm curious with you, like, what would you tell a Black professional? We actually had this conversation last week with Andre Gray. Shout out to my bro. And we talked about playing the game. What are your thoughts of playing the game in 2022? What would you say to the young professional that's like me and you, that's 21 years old? He's hip hop. He does everything. But he's like, man, I want to break into tech, but I want to be myself. What advice would you give to that brother?
Lead with being yourself. I think there's enough opportunities within tech where companies are value driven to attract anybody from any background. So like you can only like set, especially as like a Black person, like it may take you a bit longer to find the right opportunity, but you're always better off finding the right opportunity by leading by who you are and being yourself. Take it from a guy that like agreed to like play up a role or like a duality of himself in order to like get a paycheck. It always ends in like tragedy in terms of like you realize you're in a spot that doesn't deserve you, or you realize you're in a toxic situation because you got people that are pushing you to be like what you're not, right? From a personal standpoint. And it's never worth it because you either find yourself quitting prematurely, or you find yourself in like a super, super, super toxic environment that you need to separate from. So I always say like lead with just being yourself, right? Look for companies that like make a list of like what your values are that you would like to share with your employer, and look for companies that have those same values. Whatever discussions that you're in, lead with those values, lead with those principles, and see who is aligned with it, right? The people that don't make the conversation tense or uncomfortable, fuck with what you're trying to do, fuck with your vision. And those are the people that you need to continue having conversations with. The people that don't will tense up, the conversation will get awkward, and they'll try to like directly move the conversation past that point without you noticing that they're moving the conversation on without talking about that point. So you know what I'm saying? So be like the best thing that you could do is to lead with that, especially if it's important to you. Like if your identity in the workplace is important to you and is a crucial element of you being comfortable in the workplace, you need to learn, you need to lead with that, right?
And so I'm curious too, bro, to piggyback off of that. Have that moment happen to you, bro? Because it happened to me. Like you can see in the past 3 years, bro. Before the 3 years I was working at an agency, it was play the game. I had my button up, I had my wingtips, the cognacs, I had a phone voice, I had an office voice, I had a communal work voice. You know the vibes. And once I cut it off is when things started to really take off for me, bro. So it's very hard to say that right off the bat, or to be yourself when you feel like you don't have the leverage to do so.
Yeah, I find myself in that position, and the funny thing is that you don't realize you have the leverage, but you always have the leverage. If you're willing to like leave, quit, move on from a place because they're not treating you right, you always have the leverage. And back in like 2019, 2018, I changed jobs 3 times because the first time I changed the jobs because I asked for a raise because I had an artificial ceiling. I asked for a raise. They wouldn't give me a raise. So I left. Right. And the place that I left the first organization for to the next one was toxic. Like I was on the phone. I was a 360 agency recruiter. So I was doing, in addition to the recruiting, I was also doing the business development. And they would hear me on my business development calls, and they heard me do a call, and they told me to hang up. They brought me in the office, and they were trying to like bully me into not talking Black. They're like, you need to stop talking like that. I'm like, talking like what? Talking like like urban, and it was nasty, man. I was like,
oh man,
2019. This was like 4 days after my grandmother died, which I'll never forget. It was my 4th day on the job. The Raptors just won the championship, right? So we were trying to figure out whether or not Kawhi was going to stay. Right? I remember this very vividly, right?
Yeah.
I remember I was like, these motherfuckers really took me into an office to say, don't talk black, talk like Bob. I'm like, I'm not Bob, I'm Jermaine. Like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, you know what you're getting. Like, this is like y'all niggas interviewed me.
Yeah.
Y'all niggas interviewed me. Like, I was talking like this during the fucking interview. So
love it. Love it. And then what happened from there, bro? So like it was just a rap. He was like, nah, I can't do it.
Like I was like, all right, this is a toxic workplace, but like maybe I'm tripping, maybe I'm being a bit premature. Like it's only the 4th day. By day 7, they were trying to like convince me to break my non-compete with my former agency, and they were like, "Oh, don't worry, if they send legal at you, we got your back." And I was like,
"Yeah." Hit him with the Dr. E. Right.
Yeah. So I was like, I need to get the fuck up out of here. And I started interviewing. And so I'm in Toronto right now. I'm born and raised Toronto. At that point in my life, I was like, I can't see myself leaving Toronto. I can't see myself, moving away from Toronto. Like this is my city, right?
Yeah. So
I was trying to get out of this job, but I was also trying to have my cake and eat it where my salary was still going up. I didn't want to have to leave behind a higher salary. So I was like trying to look at my options, and eventually it led me to applying outside of my comfort zone and getting a job in Montreal, which is the French part of Canada.
Yeah.
Right. I don't speak French. I ain't never been to Montreal before, but I got a job that paid me the most money I've ever seen in my life. And I said, fuck it. I was like, the worst thing that could happen is I'll just pack my car and just drive back.
That's
right.
It. Yeah.
So I took that job and I ended up at a really good spot after that job. So it was I stayed 2-3 months at that employer. So I thought it'd be weird. I thought it'd be like a barrier, or people be like, yo, why are you leaving this employer? But I was just honest. I was like, our values are totally misaligned, right? So because I took that position, I was able to flip the conversation and the leverage and the dynamic of the conversation with the companies I was interviewing for. I'm in a spot where there's a clash in terms of culture. It doesn't align with my values. These are my values. Do you align with them? And if you don't, we can end the conversation right here. And I'll tell you, have a good day, and we can just go about our business. And if it does, we can explore the conversation. But if you don't align with what I say is important, I'm exercising my power in this dynamic to end the conversation because you ain't worth my time. Right?
Totally feel you on that.
The amount of niggas that tripped over themselves to fucking tell me how they were DEI folks, or how they welcomed different identities, different people. When you flip it and you're from a value standpoint, yo, do you align with these values, these clear-cut values? What it's a yes or no question.
Yeah.
You fucking do, you fucking don't. And if you don't, then we don't need to talk, right?
No problem,
You know what I'm saying? I'm never everyone has different situations. Everyone is in different circumstances. I look at things in the short and the long term concurrently, right? Sometimes you got to take a job that's not ideal because your needs dictate that you take that job, right?
Yeah.
But if you know that the situation isn't ideal, you always have to have your eye on the exit, right?
For sure.
And that is when you will never lose leverage, and just mastering the art of finding a new job and being willing to pull the trigger, right? Because if somebody's not treating you the way you need to be treated, fuck them.
So true, bro. But I'm gonna be the devil's advocate too, bro. Because I'm not sure how it works in New York. So if it goes in New York, if I take a job right now, if I accept the offer, I work for 1 week, and if I quit, I'm not eligible for unemployment. So for most people, that's going to be a tough one, especially whatever your needs are. Everybody's situation is different. So if I go in there, and I know you've heard this before, where you have those good conversations in the room before you sign the offer. And then when you get there, it's a totally different story. It's a bait and switch. You thought you was cool with the Jared. You said you was okay with the hat. Now you pulled me into the room, said you don't want me talking urban. And you know what I'm saying? And those things happen. And that's a difficult situation to be in when you feel like you need that job and having a way out. Well, shit, do I go and look for another job that might take a month or two? How do I keep my family above the, you know what I mean? How I can stay above water, or do I stay in a toxic ass environment that's going to end up ultimately messing with my mental well-being? You know what I'm saying?
You do both.
Yeah.
Like ideally, you don't leave the job. Like you could get a new job, and within the first week, you'd be like, I need to get the fuck up out of here.
Right? Fine, yeah.
Pull the trigger. Don't, like, I'm not saying quit your job.
Yeah,
without
for sure.
having something lined up. I'm just saying, at the first signs of trouble, do not delude yourself into not applying because you just started. Pull the trigger, start applying, right?
Yeah.
Because if things are fucked up in the first week, they're gonna be fucked up in the 10th week, right?
Facts.
So, like, do yourself a favor and pull the trigger and get out of there, but hold on to the job as long as you can. Now, the only time I tell people to quit a job before they have another one lined up is what I like to call the train test, right?
Mm-hmm.
Toxic environment that I just mentioned that I was in, where they're like, yo, we don't want you talking black.
Yeah.
I remember I was on a train going to work. I caught myself crying in the mirror because I fucking hated my life. Wow. And I was in a really dark place. I was saying, and I'm like, if a job fucks with your mental health so much that you're bawling on the train, or that you're dreading work, or that you're looking for any opportunity to take a bathroom break because like these people are driving you crazy, then it might be in your best interest, for the sake of your sanity, to quit that job, right? Yeah. Because the emotional like trauma that you're putting yourself through, like, it's not going to be worth it, right? Obviously, you know to the point where the money does not equate to the actual emotional stress that you're going through, right? Everybody has their breaking point. Ideally, though, if you see shit that's fucked up in week 1, don't play yourself in thinking that by week 52 it's going to be different, right? Pull that trigger, start applying. Don't worry about, oh, I just started here, right? If it's under a month, don't even add them to your resume. Anyone ask what you were doing that last month? You were traveling. You were visiting grandma, right? I tell niggas I was in England. For the first time. I was in Brixton. I was with my grandma. What were you doing? Like, what was this? Like, I don't even know if anyone still asks for gaps in like no one should be asking for gaps during like COVID or like this economic situation we're going through. But if when I was at that new job, that toxic place, I had 2 months. I had 2 months, so I added them on my resume. But I expected people to ask like, why are you walking out? And like that turned into like a point of strength for me, right? Yeah. In some aspects, I probably wouldn't have added them to my resume and just told people like I'm just taking a break, right? Or I've just been doing skill development, or I've just been doing consulting, right?
Yeah.
But there's so many different ways around it. But like, yeah, like don't. This is what I mean by like taking agency and having power in your situation. As long as you're able to, as long as you're able and willing to exercise the option of cutting people the fuck out of your life, you will always have power.
That's real, man.
It's at will employment, right? It's at will employment. It goes both ways.
That's real, bro. That's real, bro. And I would love because I want to talk about your journey, bro. How you got started on LinkedIn. But before we do, bro, I would love for you to just go over, because you brought up a great point. What are some red flags that we can give to other professionals out now that are looking for jobs? What are some red flags that they may catch on an interview that you hear often that they should look out for?
If you try to negotiate salary and they get pissed at you for negotiating salary, especially if it's like the first counter offer, red flag. If they tell you that this is a politics-free environment, red fucking flag, scarlet flag. If they say, yo, we're a family, red flag. Stars and stripe, red flag. Like it's red flag. If they say shit like, if they say shit like, yo, we're a hybrid environment, but you got to be at the office more than 3 days a week, red flag.
Red flag. It's so bad. You named all the major ones I would think of for sure. The family one for sure. Can't stand the family one. The hybrid, obviously. I hate when we have a great diverse culture. I hate when they say that. It's like, what does that actually mean? Can I come in there and be myself and all that? We know I can't. What other? It's so many, man. It's so many red flags. I also tell people to look at leadership.
Yeah.
Look at leadership and really try to get some FaceTime with leadership. The CEO, I will look at what they're doing, go Google them, see if there's any bad press on them, see how they're conveying their message out to the public, go on LinkedIn and all those things, right? Because that's the main thing for me. I want to know who I'm working with. I want to know who I'm dealing with. Like you said earlier, I want to know if you're aligned with my missions and things of that nature, right? And then just like for CEOs right now, I got to trust you, man.
Yeah,
I got to really trust you with my because this is an opportunity for a lot of people. This is a renaissance. I'm going to tell the audience, right? It's like you have a chance right now to be a consultant. Right now, consulting work is at an all-time high. And there's going to be so many solopreneurs being started and created out of this. There's going to be so many people that have to start this. And you're going to see a shift in the agency world. You're going to see a shift in consultancy. You're going to see a shift in a lot of different fabrics of business, right? And this is an opportunity for you to either one, play the game and continue that, or create a sustainable lifestyle for your family and your future. Is it going to be hard? Hell yeah. I'm telling you right now, y'all, it's hard as hell. But develop your relationships. If you develop your relationships and really just, like I said, know your worth, know your strengths, and play into that, you're going to be solid. And which led me into what the leaders into the LinkedIn stuff too, bro. So like what started your journey there, man? Because did you just stumble on it like I did, bro? Because I stumbled on this shit. I was like, bro, I won't tell you the whole story, but my CEO at the time, I asked him how we get sales. He's like, yeah, through referrals and stuff like that. I do a lot of content on Twitter. He had 50,000 followers. Bing, red light bulb went off. You on Twitter? Cool. And you got this multi-million-dollar agency. You stay there. I'm going to go on LinkedIn. I had no clue to reach what it was. I just went simple. Like, yeah, that's where the business folks are. Let's figure it out. And then we just took off, bro. Was it similar to you? And when did you realize it wasn't like the LinkedIn of 2010?
You know what? It's so like a lot like I would say like my branding or like my social media strategy started on Twitter too. I built up a really good following on Twitter, and like it was like powering a lot of like my coaching side of the business.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, I'll like just like post some of the same shit, like some of the tweets that are successful on Twitter and just on like LinkedIn, and just see like what's good. I don't my whole thing is authenticity. Like at this point, I was like, I don't know if I ever work for somebody again, they need to know like what they're getting or who they're getting. Cause I'm not trying to do this kiki ha ha bullshit anymore. Like I'm over it. I'm tired of it. Right.
Yes.
So a lot of my stuff on my Twitter is just me just being real. And I was like, a lot of people put on for like LinkedIn. I'm not going to put on for LinkedIn. I'm just going to say what I say. And if motherfucker wants to fight me over it, they can fight me over it. Like I'm cool with that. Like I'm from Scarborough. Like I got jumped. I got jumped like almost every day of my life. Like I got jumped almost every day of my life. I come from a Jamaican household. Like some dude on LinkedIn is not gonna scare me, right? So like, oh, what if you like stifle your career? It's like I don't like, honestly, like if like my girl like makes this joke where she calls me like, Jermaine Axe or Malcolm Jermaine, like. Because I'll start like, she'll be like, oh, I'll like, well, I'll start like talking about like, Black people advancement and like we need to get more of us in this space. Like we'll walk into like the hair store and I'll be like, man, I wish more Black people own like hair salons and hair products, like hair stores where people were getting like the hair and shit, because we're customers, but we're never the suppliers. And then she'd be like, nigga, I just want to buy my hair. I don't need the activist right now. I'm like, babe, I'm just saying. She's like, nigga, nah, bro. We don't need. I need to have a dream right now. Just chill, right? But like, that's just like how I am. That's what I'm be. So like, I I started posting stuff on LinkedIn, especially since I'm very loud and vocal about getting Black folks jobs. So I actually started. I think my first couple of posts were around our initiative to help more Black people get work, and like I'd always get like a white person in my comments saying like accusing me of being racist for prioritizing Black people.
Yeah, yeah,
and like that's kind of just what set me off. Like
yeah.
I wasn't even trying to grow the following on LinkedIn. I actually was just trying to piss off as many like racist people as possible. Because like if you mention Black people in a positive light on LinkedIn, you're gonna have like a white person accusing you of being racist in the comments, which is just it's just like pro-Black is not anti anything. It's just pro-Black, right?
Yeah.
So, but like I started posting, I started getting into like I started seeing like more opportunities. A lot of people started messaging me saying that like my messaging and like you know my content is stuff that they wish that they could say, but they were afraid to. Right? Mm-hmm. A lot of posts that I make, a lot of people message me directly and be like, I can't like this because my manager's on LinkedIn and they'll see it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's a thing too. And we gotta do it now. But the value of a like and what that means and how many people, and just because they don't like some shit don't mean they don't like some shit.
Yeah. I get it all the time. Like people be telling me like, yo, we screenshot your shit and we put it in our group chat because we don't want to like it, but we're like, yo, Jermaine's saying everything that we're thinking. And like it was nice, and I just decided like, yo, I'm gonna just share my truth and my views on like LinkedIn and see like just see what happens. But like we use Twitter to help 126 Black people get new jobs in tech in 2021, right? And I was like,
nice, bro.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I would like, and like right now we helped 77 Black people get new jobs in tech this year. Since 2019, we've helped 355 people, and that was with primarily ignoring LinkedIn. And when you think about it, that's kind of like backwards because LinkedIn is the job platform, right? Yeah. So it was like, let's start, like a lot of the people found like content that we produced on Twitter to be extremely helpful to their jobs, right? So I was like, let's just do the same thing on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn was actually more receptive of our content than Twitter was.
Yeah.
And within half a year, like when I started posting on Twitter when I started posting on LinkedIn seriously back in like March, I had like 5,000 followers or something.
But this March?
This March, yeah.
You went from 5 to 69 since March, bro?
Yeah.
Shit.
It completely like jumped my Twitter, which was extremely surprising. And I'm just like, I'm like, all right. And then I found out that like Twitter is actually like the smallest like social media platform in comparison to like LinkedIn and like the Facebook and everything. So I got more eyes on my stuff, and that was like that helped kind of propel things and like help me like kind of like build up. And I'm just very mission driven, man. So like
I love it, bro.
You know, everything's around like that Black perspective. Everything's around that Black voice. Everything's around, you know, giving people like us the opportunity to like have careers that are either worthwhile or have careers that enable us to live lives that we're really passionate about, right?
Yeah.
I just saw a lot of like benefits of working within tech, right? That just always seemed like a dream to me. Like working remotely still, like I've been doing it for like 4 years now. Working remotely still doesn't like make sense to me, right? Like it's still weird, right?
Yeah.
But I worked remotely for a month from Mexico. I worked remotely from Italy. I worked remotely from England, and it's like
that's dope.
You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I catch myself, and I caught myself in the mirror in Italy. I was like, "Yo, who the fuck are you? Like, where are you at right now? What are you doing?" And it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like even when I was trying to get into radio, my wildest dreams didn't look like anything that I was kind of doing. Like I think my wildest dream was being like the Black Larry King, right?
Yeah.
And like only at that level would I be able to like have the flexibility to like work that I do. But like tech has allowed me that flexibility way way before I had to like reach a Larry King status. And like, that's why I'm like, I want more of us in this space, because I want more of us to like be able to like live that kind of life, be able to like really travel the world, be able to like, especially with the way the economy is and like the way that tech salaries are. I feel like a tech salary is probably like one of the few ways you can keep up with this economy. Like,
so
if I stuck with radio, I have a very steep uphill battle living in Toronto, trying to buy a house, because we have a housing crisis here. It's kind of like the same like New York. Right? What was affordable in the 90s does not exist right now.
Hell yeah.
Hell no. Like, I had a family in New York that used to own brownstones. Right? And they don't own them no more. And I'm just like, I didn't think a brownstone in Brooklyn could go for like 7-8 mil.
Easy right now.
Because in the 90s, no one was trying to, like people were living here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Brooklyn in the 90s was different. LA in the 90s was different, right? Toronto in the 90s was different. And it's like we don't we're like our people are getting pushed out, and like the ones of us that stand a chance of fighting or not getting pushed out of areas that we have established our roots in, are the ones that are working in these high impact sectors like finance, like tech, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I want to get as many of us in here as possible, because like it's extremely hard for anybody to build up generational wealth if the roots are getting uprooted every single time. Like I'm a first gen Canadian to Jamaican immigrants, right?
Wow. They
had to like uproot their whole entire life to come here to Canada and start over again, right?
Wow, yeah.
I feel like if I'm not successful in like owning something or like taking advantage of those roots, whoever comes after me is gonna have to like start over again, because like, what was the point of my parents coming here in the first place, just to get pushed out, right? So it's like, we want to be able to build on top of that success, establish those roots, and like the tech careers and the tech salaries seem to be like a really good way for us to fight back against this rising cost of living, because like I don't know any other career paths where like you can reach a 6-figure salary in under 5 years without having to touch the executive level, right?
Facts. That's all true, bro. And you nailed it, bro. Like I'm from the Bronx, bro. And like I said, I've traveled all over the world because of the opportunities that tech has granted me, bro. I worked at Cannes Line. I'm in the south of France looking at speedboats. I'm in London. I'm in Paris. I went to every state you could think of here in the US, bro. Been to Mexico, all these different places because of what tech has allowed me to do. And I'll come back to the block and people are like, yo, what the hell you doing? Like you're a unicorn. You know what I'm saying? And it needs to stop with that, bro. But the problem is, I think, one, getting us into tech is a problem, but also helping us ascend in tech, bro. Because when my first perception when I first got in the industry, I know you probably thought the same way, bro. We'd be at a conference, it'd be maybe 2 of us in there. I gotta see you across the room. We give each other a head nod, and it's all love. And then you would think the elites, the C levels, the executives, it was like a closed room. You had to marry in. It didn't feel like you could get there. I didn't feel like I was that type of person to get there. So you have to figure it out on your own, bro. And that's how we win, is what you nailed. Being your goddamn self, bro. Because then people like, to stifle your career. Motherfucker, my career is already stifled. Let's keep it all the way a stack. My career is already stifled. I've had to cut my hair to get raises and all types of craziness just to be a person that makes you feel comfortable in the workplace when I was the same person Monday through Friday. You know what I'm saying? So that's for any professional listening. Like Jermaine just said some real stuff, man. Be yourself, guys. As far as the leverage, tell them what you want, know what you want to do and what you want to accomplish in this space. And if you be yourself, you forge the right relationships, you can ascend here. Right. And we have to change that narrative, because right now, the way the tech industry is, unfortunately, white professionals get to fail forward and we don't get that opportunity. That's just the reality of it.
Because you got to be twice as good to get half as much. Like I think I've talked to Black people from all across the world, like how Black people get jobs in Japan, Germany, the United Kingdom, the United States, in the Caribbean, and everyone that's from a predominantly white country. I've helped niggas in France, right? Everyone has, no matter what their background is, every black person has that talk with their kids, or has had that talk with their parents about, being twice as good and only getting half as much, right?
Yeah.
And like, it's just funny because I tell people, like, black people aren't a monolith. Like, you shouldn't, just because one black person makes a mistake, you shouldn't go with the assumption that all black people are going to make that same mistake, right? But like, we're not a monolith. The black experience is nuanced, but goddamn, like that shit is so similar across, like, like, there, when it's different is different, but god damn, when that shit overlaps, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
So real.
yeah, and it's just like, what we want to do and what we focus on at Jupiter HR is just making shit more transparent, like,
That's all we can do.
exactly.
All we can do, bro. I love that, bro. And then before I get you going, I didn't realize we was at 50 minutes, bro, because I could have this conversation with you all day, bro. And I appreciate you for being so real and being you, bro. But yo, I've got to ask you, where did the Jobfather title come from? And what was it like seeing yourself in Forbes? Because when I seen you in Forbes, bro, I was celebrating like, I was like, yeah, my God. I'm proud of you, bro, because I'm on the same path as you. And I'm like, yo, I know it's going to happen. I've been in Ad Week and all that other stuff. When I seen you in Forbes, bro, because it's only a few people that talk the shit like you do. It's you, it's Madison Butler, it's Liz Lieber. It's a few people. I don't know if you connected with them, but that's the six.
I know Madison. That's my girl. That's my homie, blue-haired unicorn.
You know the deal. Yeah, that's my girl. Yo, shout out to Maddie. Love you, sis. You already know.
I love how she's like raw and just like straight up to the point. So like, the Jobfather title actually came from like my best friend, right? So it was like, it was funny when I was in Montreal. I actually prior, like, when I like in Montreal, I actually like watched The Godfather for like the first time, and it was you should see it. I watched The Godfather. I fell in love with The Godfather, and then I actually went and I read the book, right? Because I was just obsessed with everything, and it had this whole point about like leadership. Because I've always wanted to know what, like, growing up, I never understood what it took to be a good leader, right? Some people are like born natural leaders. I wouldn't consider myself a born natural leader. I always had like a loud voice, but like having a loud voice is not the same as being able to lead. And like, I've always wanted to be a leader. I just didn't know how to like how do you get people to like follow your lead? And watching The Godfather, ironically enough, it taught me what that leadership aspect was. And it was like looking at like a community or a group of people, identifying what their needs are and figuring out where you can be to make things a bit easier, to make things more transparent, or just to be a resource for people to come to, right?
Yeah.
But when I started posting on Twitter, I didn't have an intention of like building up a brand or anything. I just wanted to be a resource Black people could come to. If Black people were like, because in real life, when I was going to networking events, just like you said, you don't see a lot of Black people. You make eye contact, you do the nod, right? So I started adding Black people to a WhatsApp group, right, and just connecting them to different opportunities, because like I wanted to see more of us in here, and I was like, I'll be that plug. I'll help people understand how to conquer interviews. I'll help people understand like what recruiters are looking for. Like, I'm a recruiter too. I will be behind the scenes telling you the whole entire play script. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you have the umpires in baseball doing that. I was like, that's what I'm gonna be like. I'm gonna be like gang signs and shit, right? like
facts.
So it started from there, and like, I started it taught me that like, being somebody that people come to a resource, and like just being there for people, being that plug, or just leveraging your knowledge so people get ahead, was how you was how I learned servant leadership, right? So one of the people that I helped was my best friend, and like my best friend last year was person 34 out of the 126 that we helped. And I remember 34 because Shaq is my favorite player of all time. Yeah. And that was his number on the Lakers. So I was like, oh, this is great. Like, my Shaq number is my best friend, right? And like he was working at this is like 2021. This is like this like pandemic, still like we're still experiencing lockdowns in Canada. Like our gyms were closed for like a good year and bit, right? And my friend was working at a gym, and they laid him off because the gyms were closed down. And he was like, I need a job. So I helped him get a job. And he's like, yo, my nigga, like initially I wanted to get a job to work as like a stopgap, right? So like when my real job opens back up, I would just leave this one and go to my old job again. But he's like, brethren, you got me an offer that A, is remote, B, pays my entire compensation, my salary and my commission, what my OTE was, in the base salary alone, and I only have to work 4 days a week. And he's like, yo, my nigga, you got me an offer I cannot refuse. You are the Jobfather. And I was like, ooh! I was like, yo! Oh! I was like, nigga, say that again. Say that again. And he's like, you the Jobfather. I'm like, oh! I was like, I literally just watched Godfather 2, right? So I was like, oh! I was trying to give myself nicknames my whole entire fucking life, right? Like, no, peep this. Like, some of the nicknames I've given myself, like, I'm a Shaq fan, so like, I saw Shaq give himself nicknames, so I was like, let me give myself a nickname. When I was graduating high school, trying to go into radio, I called myself Audio Chocolate, right? I'm Audio Chocolate, Big Boss, Jermaine Jupiter. I've tried to give myself as many nicknames as I could, and nothing stuck. And this nigga called me the Jobfather, and I knew that was the one.
That's the one, bro.
That is the one. I'm gonna run with that, and like, it was the one. Like, yo, it was like a perfect storm. It was like the universe was like confirming with me, like, yo, this is what I'm supposed to do.
That's what you supposed to do, bro. That's a fact, bro. Like when I saw, and then you have Forbes call you the Jobfather, which is really tough. I was like, yo, bro.
The big one, I love the Forbes one, and that was a proud moment for me. My mom, my uncles, they were all like, they were all going crazy. Like family group chat was on 10. My mom was going crazy for it, which I'm super proud of. My aunt read to my grandma in England. It was good, but the Forbes article led to me getting featured on Jamaicans.com, which you know, all my family on the island were like, yo. Why? Yo, this is you.
Why?
Yeah, I had family like, yo, I don't know what the fuck you do, but bro, like, this is
it. Yeah,
this is it. So like, yeah, man, I've been super grateful for like the journey and how it came about, and like, you know, whenever like, you know, whatever, like we have this saying in Jamaican culture, you know, what is for you cannot be for you, right? And it's like, if you read the book The Alchemist, it talks about when the universe wants you to win and you're in tune with the universe, miracles happen. And I've been so fortunate to, you know, be in the position that I'm in, fortunate with the career that I've had, and I'm fortunate enough. It feels like I'm in tune with the universe, with what my mission is, but also, you know, with the kind of like the things that we've been able to like I've been able to achieve. It's only with like God's blessing, and like it all comes back to just being in tune with like what my true purpose is. And it's just funny, like at this point, like helping black people get jobs has become a personality trait for me. But I wouldn't have it any other way.
That's dope, bro. Like I'm gonna tell you straight off the bat, bro. Like I'm inspired by your story. First of all, the 5,069 in 5 months is incredible. I appreciate you for doing what you do, because I look at you the same way, bro. Some of the shit that y'all say, you and Madison, y'all got me started. Like Madison is the first person who got me on LinkedIn, bro. I saw the blue hair. I saw Quentin with the hat, with the fedora, and I'm like, yo, bro, I'm Jared from the Bronx. I'm from the hood, and I'm gonna show these motherfuckers I got something to say, bro. And then shit took off, man, and I'm grateful for that. So we need people like yourself. We need Maddie. We need all of our personalities combined to show people that we more than this. We more than what you think we are, bro. We are so much better than that. We got so much to offer to the table and offer the tech, bro. So I'm rooting for you, bro. I'm proud of all your success, man. I'm glad the opportunity now I can call you my brother and I had you on the show, bro. Real talk. If you need anything, I'm on deck. And man, like I just want to see you do it big in 2023, bro. Real shit, man. Keep doing what you do.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me on the show, and thank you for taking the time to speak with me. I love seeing this, love seeing your growth too, man, and keep up the great work.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, man. And appreciate shout out to everybody on the check-in, man. Hayes, Nikki, Steve, Jordan, everybody. And we've been growing. We're getting 100 followers, 100 viewers a week on LinkedIn. YouTube numbers are going crazy. So I want to thank y'all for making 2022, at least making this podcast a highlight of my year. 2022 has been crazy. It's been up. I was up, down. It's been that. And y'all made this, a staple of my life, and I appreciate y'all. Y'all know how much this shit keeps me going. So I love y'all. I hope y'all have a great, happy holidays. 2023, we coming to take shit over, and hope everybody enjoy with their family, bro. So much love, baby, and welcome. Thank you for being on the last episode of the year and the season of More Than a Title, man. I love y'all, man, and see you soon.
What you know about me? Seen it all, heard it all. Oh, what you know about me? Done it all, just want it all. Oh, what you know about me? I seen it all, heard it all. Oh, what you know about me? Oh, what you know about me?